So if you guys need something to read now that you don't have a lot going on, I have two books out. Flash in the Dark is one. I read from The Problem with Humans yesterday, and those are both available on Amazon, and Amazon is still doing its part and shipping stuff out. So I know things are going to get tight, so I by no means expect you guys to go out and buy, my things. But if you need a new book, please consider. You can also go to snacksizedfiction.com where I have a lot of my stories up for free access to those. So here we go. I am going to, Stephanie, thank you for your comment. I am going to read a story called Celebrity is Murder. So it's a little bit darker than yesterday. Yesterday was a little funny one. This one's shorter. So it's going to go quick, but it's a little darker. So this is not really a kid's story time, even though story time you might think. Some will be appropriate, this might not. Just from the title, Celebrity is Murder, you might be able to tell. Not really kid appropriate, but I guess it depends on your kids. I know 9 to 10 to 12-year-olds that have read this. So anyway, this is called Celebrity is Murder. He smiled, flashing his bleached teeth at the front row, sure the glare from the stage lights would blind anyone unfortunate enough to look right at them. He waved as he approached the podium and, despite telling himself he wouldn't, glanced behind him. It was a quick flit of the eyes, and he corrected it immediately, knowing that someone would notice if his gaze lingered. They noticed everything, yet they saw nothing. They would notice the lapse in his attention, but they wouldn't see what was right in front of them. At the podium, he paused to let the applause die down. The roar gave him a moment to take a deep breath and steady his shaking hands. He hadn't felt like this on stage in years. The whole game, the whole world of celebrity, had lost its shine years ago. The fans, once his reason for being, were now only shallow, one-dimensional figures that cared more about this Best Actor trophy than their own presidential election, bonded to each other in ignorant unity. They didn't care what he did as long as he smiled, waved, and delivered performances that made them forget their meaningless lives. He'd grown numb to it all. But tonight he felt it all anew. Tonight he'd heard his name, and his heart dropped into his gut as the man in front of him hit the floor. The music began to play, signaling his call to the stage, and his heart pounded as he wondered if someone would discover him. If he didn't go accept the award, would someone come looking for him? He was supposed to be in the crowd, not backstage. Would they notice? And if they found him, what would they say? When they caught him mid-act, the rope still in his hand, the body strewn at his feet, would they finally see what he had been trying to tell them for months? Or would they remain blind? Like when that actress went missing from his party. The evidence should have been damning, but they looked right at it and simply ignored it. He was their golden boy. He was perfect in their eyes. So they'd read the signs, come to the wrong conclusion, and he'd walked away without one scratch on his shiny reputation. It was then, after that first one, he began to wonder, how far could he go? Tonight, he'd found out. He'd killed right under their noses, but they remained blissfully ignorant. Then he had simply dropped the rope on top of his latest victim, stepped over the body, brushed off his hands on his Armani tux, and completed his victory march to the podium, exhilarated. So that's my story. That is Celebrity is Murder. That is in my book, Flash in the Dark, a collection of flash fiction. All my stories are about 1,000 words or less, so they're great if you have kids at home that aren't going to school and you only have 5 or so minutes here and there to grab a little story, take a little break. They're perfect for that. So thank you guys so much if you tuned in. If you're watching this at a later time, thank you for watching. These will be up every day at noon. Actually, I'm going to adjust, so every weekday at noon. I don't think I'll do them on the weekends, also just because I'm doing the yoga event thing on Saturday. So every weekday, I'll have a noon time story. So thank you for tuning in. Check out all the other things on 517 Living happening. virtually. And I hope you guys are hanging in there and surviving and staying healthy and well. Have a great day.